Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elma. So we're going to be going through my match day one team selection as well as a chip strategy. And of course, we're going to be playing heavily predict six. There's also going to be content on that in this video. But before we get into the video, I'd like to thank you all guys for the continued support on the channel, especially on the short content. You guys seem to love the short content, and I'll continue producing content on that. And I'm really, really thankful for the support, and I just want to also bring that type of support into the long video content because they do take a longer time to create, but I still appreciate the support. But before we get into this particular video, if you are new around here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave a like, and make sure you hit that bell just with any content going up on the channel. We managed to finish top 1%, so you are sure these are very, very good tips to be able to propel you into that top 1%. So without wasting any much time, let's get straight into it. So before we get into the video, I've created the leagues. I've created the Classic League, which is just the normal UEFA Fantasy, and I've also created the Predict Six League, which is just predicting six games from every match day. So the match day one, where predictions are still there. And this season, they've added a new twist. You predict six games, and you also get to predict who's going to score first, which player is going to go first, and those kind of things. So make sure you get involved in those leagues. Like I'm able to compete with some of the best people in the community. And yeah, and the auto join links are also there in the description. So make sure you check that out. So now let's go into the main video. So first we're going to start off with the defenders and the goalkeepers for the match day one team selection. We're going to be having Joan Garcia from Barcelona at only 4.5 million. I think it's a no-brainer to have him in there. Of course, they do play Newcastle away, which is a very tricky fixture. But the beauty of the fantasy, the beauty of the year for fantasy, I might say, is that you have two goalkeepers and you can be able to make up substitute. But that's why I'm not really, really fast with having him against, because I think they do play fast. So if they don't keep a clean sheet, I can just shift it to Chevalier, who from PSG, also at 4.5 million, very decent price, and a starting goalkeeper at that price for a team that won the Champions League last season. I think it's a no-brainer to have him in there. And I just want my goalkeepers to be 9 million, so I might still change to like someone like Vicario, able to get a 4 million goalkeeper. But for now, we're going to stick up with John Garcia and Chevalier, and hope that he can be able to be uh, monumental for their teams in that goalkeeping department. Then going off the defenders, we're having Hakimi against Atalanta in match day one. I've gone for him. He's very attacking. Remember last season in the Champions League and also in the league, he had so many assists, so many goals. He was even higher up the pitch than some of the attacking players, and I think he's also a must-have in the team. And I hope that he's going to be able to perform at only 6 million. I think he's the most expensive defender, and rightly so. I've gone for him in there. Then we have Huijsen from Real Madrid at only 4.5 million. I could not believe the price of a starting defender from Real Madrid being at only 4.5 million, and I had to go for him in there. They do play Marseille and Kairat in match day one and in match day two, respectively. So that's why I've gone for him in there. I just thought that price range is just too good to avoid. Then we've gone for Jed Spence from Spurs. I think Spurs have one of the best fixtures on paper, and I think Jed Spence being at 4.5 million, I also think is a very, very decent price for him. Of course, there's a slight risk that Odogi might be back, or slight risk of rotation from Jed Spence, but I've gone for him in there, just hoping he can be able to perform, and we'll cross the Odogi bridge when we reach there. And I think that Udogi is out for around another 2 months. So I think Jed Spence will be we'll have that left back position on lock. Then I've gone for Araujo. And this one I've gone for him is 4 million. And I have him in a video for hidden gems. I don't think it will be out. For me, it will be out by the time you're watching this. I've been as a hidden gem. And I had to go for one of the hidden gems that I put in my video. And of course, I'm targeting that Karabag fixture in match day one. I expect a clean sheet in that game. And I expect a very good performance from him, and then I hope we're going to be able to perform. Then next we're going for Calafiori from Arsenal. I don't think there's anything else anyone can add to that Arsenal defense. They have the best defense in the whole of Europe. They have the best defense. They keep clean sheets for fun. That's why I've gone for him in there. And they have good fixtures as well. They have Bilbao and Olympiacos. And of course, he's only 4.5 million. And of course, the slight risk rotation with Miles Kelly in there, and also Hinkapi. there can be slight rotation risk in there. I've gone for him. I think he's going to start, and he's also dangerous from set pieces. So yeah, that's the defense. Looks pretty solid. Of course, this is not the final, it's not the locked team. I might make changes before the deadline, but for now, I think it's going to be pretty much locked in. So now let's look at the midfield. So for the midfield, we're going to start off with Rafinha, of course, playing in that tricky fixture against Newcastle. But I think Barcelona are going to beat Newcastle. I don't know why people are saying it's going to be a tough fixture. I think Barcelona are going to beat Newcastle comfortably. And Rafinha being the bagsman for Barcelona. Of course, yesterday Lewandowski is also back. There's a high potential for assist as well. Of course, there's no Yamal, which is a slight concern. But I think Rafinha still has enough in him to be able to perform, and I'm sure he's going to perform. Yesterday, he scored 2 goals off the bench. He looked really, really good, looked really sharp, and I think he's a must-have in everyone's team. Then we have Olise playing against Chelsea. At first, I did not have any Bayern players because they were playing Chelsea, but after seeing that Chelsea performance against Brentford, where they conceded 2 goals to arguably one of the poorest teams in the league, I just had to put in Olise in there. Of course, he's not the man in form at the moment. Gnabry is the man in form, and they have also Luis Diaz. So there might be slight competition here and there, but I think I'm going to have Olise in there. But there's a slight chance I might go for Gnabry because it's a little bit cheap. I'm able to upgrade one of my midfielders, but I'm not so sure about that because I'm just going to think about it. But I think for now, Olise is in there against Chelsea. Hope he's going to have a good performance. Hope he's going to perform. He's on set pieces as well, I think, from free kicks. So I hope he's going to be able to perform against a poor Chelsea defense. Then we have Joe Neves against Atalanta. Of course, Kvaratskhelia picked up an injury, same as Usman Dembele. There's the likes of Barcola, who I think is a must-have in the team against Atalanta. That's why I'm thinking of maybe going Olise to Gnabry, then Joe Neves to Barcola. He did score 2 amazing goals during the weekend, so I think it's going to be essential to have. And of course, John Neves was benched in match day, even in the league game during the weekend. But I think because he played a lot of games during international break. So for now, we have John Neves in there. Then my differential pick, I've gone for Kenan Yildiz. I'm not sure if he's differential anymore. I think it's 7% owned. So maybe not a differential. Maybe people are jumping on the bandwagon already. At 6.5 million, I think it's also a very decent option playing against Dortmund, who look very poor defensively. Then and Juventus managed to score 4 goals against a very strong Inter Milan defense, and Illes, of course, scored an amazing goal in that fixture. So that's why I've gone for him in there. Got a bit of recency bias, but it is what it is. He's a bright spark for a poor Juventus team, so I think it's a no-brainer to have him in there. Then finishing off the midfield is Vinicius Junior. I was a little bit surprised he was classed as a midfield this season. I'm sure everyone is going to have him in their team, especially for those two starting fixtures, Marseille and Kairat. I hope he's going to start the Marseille game because I think he played during the week and I don't think he was called up for Brazil though. So yeah, so he's going to have Marseille and Kairat. I think he's going to have a good performance. So I've gone for him in there at 29.5 million as well. I think that's a very, very cheap price for someone like Vinicius Junior. So that's the midfield. Looks pretty solid, full of goals. I might still make some changes here and there, and we'll just have to wait and see. So now let's look at the forward line. Then for the forwards, we're going to have the standard. We're going to have Haaland in there against Napoli. How good did he look against United on Sunday? Of course, Manchester United, they're very, very poor, but Haaland still looked very, very sharp, and that's why I've gone for him playing against Napoli, who is a Conte team, so they're always good defensively. But I'd expect City to be on a high after that Manchester derby win. So that's why I've gone for Haaland. Then we have Mbappe, just the bagsman for Real Madrid, just a bagsman. He scored a lot of goals, scored a brace during the weekend. He could have had more if he wanted to have more, a few offside goals here and there. They do play Marseille in a match day three, in match day one, sorry, and I hope that he's going to be able to perform and able to score a lot of goals in that fixture. Then finishing off the team, we have Pavlidis. The reason I've gone for him, just targeting that Karabakh game. It's only 7 million, and I hope he's going to be able to perform against Karabakh and able to grab a hat trick. You all remember the hat trick he scored against Barcelona. He had a very good campaign last season, and I hope he's going to have a similar campaign this season. So that's the team for match day one. Looks pretty solid. Of course, I want to make a few changes here and there, but for now, I think we're pretty much locked in. I'd say Haaland. I think I'd say the midfield is the place where I'd make some changes, but for the defense and the attack, I think you're pretty much locked in. But if you want to see the final team selection, make sure you check out my socials, mostly Instagram and TikTok. All the links are down in the description. So that's the team. Now, before we finish off the video, the people have been asking about a chip strategy. So let's get into a chip strategy. So I've put not a lot of thought in it, but I've been able to put in some thought into how I'd use my chip strategy for this season based on the fixtures. I just looked at the overall fixtures and just chose bang bang. This is what I will do if I was going to use my chips. And the first one I've gone for is a wild card in match day two. But this one I think that is a good strategy is because not many teams have a good match day one, as you can see, and it's a decent plan to get in players from teams with good runs from match two because I think there's some teams with very good runs from match day two, including Spurs, Arsenal. Also think Napoli have a slightly good draw as well from match day two. But also some of the teams think that have a good run from match day two, and of course there's some teams in there which I haven't looked at, but also the teams which stood out. And of course, there's also a lot of injuries to some key players, including Yamal, Saka, Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, who might be back before match day two. And that's something also as well I'm looking at because I don't want to have Saka in my team because they have a very good run of fixtures coming up. And I think it's going to be very ideal to have him in the team because just the Arsenal main man. But of course, now they have a lot of options, but I still think Saka is the main one. And I'd want to have him from match day two. So that's something I'm keeping tabs out. And that's why I've gone for the wild card in match day two. Then we have limitless in match day five. And I think for those who don't know the limitless chip, it allows you to have an unlimited budget. So you can be able to bring in any player you want from any team. Even you can have Mbappe, Lewandowski, I mean, let's say Mbappe, Kane, and Haaland in your team, and it will be very much possible. And then I've gone for limitless in match day five. I think there's a lot of good fixtures in match day five, and it allows you to avoid some of the sticky fixtures because we have City playing Leverkusen, Juve playing Bodo Glimt, Liverpool playing PSV, Madrid playing Olympiacos, and Napoli are going to be playing Karabag in match day five, and among other good fixtures in that bunch. That's why I've gone for limitless in match day five. But let me know down in the comments what your chip strategy is going to be looking like and what you think about my chip strategy as well. But this is something I'd do if I was going to be using my chips very early on in the group stage. Last season, I used my chips during the knockout stages, and it managed to lift my rank. I think I used my limitless in the group stage and my wild card in the. I used my wild card in the group stage and my limitless in the knockout stages, and it worked out really well. But I think the season it's better to use your chips during the league phase, and because you do like, get a lot of transfers during the knockout stage. That is my chip strategy. Now let's look at my predict six. So this is how my predict six is going to be looking like for match day one. PSV versus Union. We're going to be having 2-1 PSV. Just in PSV, we're going to have a lot in their tank. Being at home, and of course, Perisic, who's been on fire for them. I think it's a no-brainer to go for them. Then we have Madrid versus Marseille. It's going to be a 3-1. I think Marseille have it in them to score a goal because Real Madrid are not that strong defensively. So I've gone for a 3-1 in there. Benfica Karabag 2-0. I think Karabag are going to be the punching bag for many teams in this league phase. So I've gone for Benfica 2-0 there. They started the season really well, although they did draw their last game. Because of an automated mistake, but I think they'll have a lot more in the tank to beat Karabag. Then we have PSG 2-0 versus Atalanta. I think PSG just have a lot of attacking power. So I've gone for 2-0. Bayern Chelsea, these are the toughest fixture to call. I've just gone for a slight Bayern narrow 1-0 win because they do play at home. And after that Brentford fixture, I think Bayern will be smiling, thinking they can beat Chelsea. Then we have Ajax and Inter. I have gone for 3-0 Inter win. I think it's going to be a comfortable outing for Inter because they do have a very good attacking power, and that's why I've gone for them to win that fixture. So yeah, so that's my predict six. If you want to compete with me, Of course, the league code is down in the description. This is a very, very long video. If you wanted to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.